Now we want to go to KCTV5's Emily Rittman. She's also live on the Plaza tonight. Spent the day talking with protesters who have been injured. But first, Emily, describe the scene from your vantage point.
Brad, right now we're near 46th Terrace and J.C. Nichols Parkway, and what we can see from this perspective over the last 30 minutes or so are the police officers are on one side of the street and protesters are on the other. We saw a gentleman on a skateboard right down that line of police officers, giving many of them high fives, shaking their hands. We saw several women come over and bring tokens of appreciation to the police officers. But what we've also seen on the other side of the street, where you're going to see those protesters, is protesters taking time to kneel and say George Floyd's name. They also lay down on the ground with their hands behind their back. But we want to also talk to you about some protesters that are still recovering from injuries over the weekend. We do want to let you know that in this report, you will see photos of those injuries.
There's a hospital right here.
Casey Tubman took this video of protesters helping Humberto Gonzalez. They carried him to a safer location after he was injured on Saturday when he joined a protest to voice anger about the death of George Floyd and call for change to end police brutality.
They were firing him over his head. He looked forward and a tear gas canister, from the best he could tell, was fired directly at him. He felt an extreme pain in his leg. He stumbled backward and his leg gave out.
Eddie Gartland, who was a friend of Humberto's, drove him to the Kansas City VA Medical Center for treatment. He says Humberto's injury required surgery. He will need ongoing physical therapy for a compound fracture to his tibia and fibula.
He was losing a significant amount of blood. He was just screaming that his bone was exposed. His bone was showing through his leg.
Another friend of Eddie Gartland's was also hit by another type of less lethal round that same night. This is a photo of his friend's wound to the back of his head that required stitches. Police say officers used hard plastic rounds and beanbag rounds during the protests.
Was shot in the head with something. He didn't know what it was, but he immediately ducked for cover. We took his hat off. He immediately started bleeding profusely from the back of his head.
According to police, they used less lethal munitions after people in the crowd threw objects at them during this weekend's protest. Tonight, KCTV5 News asked police questions about how tear gas should be deployed.
When you have 300 to 400 people and people running, we try to find the area where we can put it where we won't cause any injury.
Humberto's friends, who are raising funds to help with the cost of his medical bills, wanted to shed light on what happened to him and others on the Plaza.
And to continue to, hold people accountable for their actions, draw attention to what has actually been going on down there.
And now anyone who believes that they have been the victim of excessive force or believe that police may have violated some policies, they are asked to file a complaint with the Community Complaints Office for the Kansas City, Missouri Police Department. Reporting live, Emily Rittman, KCTV5 News.